Magandang araw sa inyo mga kapatid sa Panginoon. Ito tayo sa isang panibagong video. Ngayon ay gusto ko lang mag-review. Um, Aking napagtanto na parang yung iba baka ay naliligaw na. Ang ating pinag-uusapan talaga natin ay ang pagpuri. Ano ba ang kinalaman ng pagsunod sa pagpuri? What is the relationship between obedience and worship? So, if you notice that in the last 2 to 3 videos, I integrated the word sanctification as a form of obedience. But at the end of the day, our main topic is all about worship. Now, in this video, we are just tracing the dots. Pagtahi-tahiin natin, ano ba ang kinalaman ng sanctification sa pagpuri? Tayo manalangin. Panginoon, nagpapasalamat po ako sa araw na ibinigay niyo po. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa panibagong opportunity na inyong ibinigay sa amin. Panibagong pagkakataon, Lord, na may pahayag ang mabuting balita. Salamat po at ilayo niyo po kami sa mga bagay na hindi ka malulugod. Ilayo niyo po kami sa mga bagay na hindi namin maiintindihan, na pag nagawa namin yung mga bagay na hindi namin maiintindihan ay magre-result ito sa mga mali pamamaraan. Salamat po. Be our speaker, be our guide. Salamat po sa pangalan ni Jesus ating Diyos. Amen. Ngayon ay pagtahi-tahiin natin. Ano ba itong sanctification sa obedience and ano ba ang obedience sa worship? Let's trace the dots. Okay. Like I said, sanctification has its co-relationship, has a direct relationship with obedience. And obedience has a direct relationship with worship. Therefore, if A is equals to B and then B is equals to C. Now, we have proven that worship, sanctification, and obedience are correlated to each other and there is a direct evidence that it is compelling. Therefore, sanctification, you could say, is a form of worship. Is the logic right? Yes. Tama ka. Ayan ang trabaho natin ngayon. Now, sanctification is a process. Yes, process nga siya. So, tatanungin niyo ko. So, is sanctification also, is obedience also a process? Yes. Therefore, worship is also a process. Would you say? Yes. It is a process. I mean, ito yung reality. Pagka na-convert kasi kayo as a Christian, it is not necessarily, oh, you're godlike. Kawangis mo na ang Diyos. It is not the case. Hindi siya ganon. You will be glorified once you already die. If you obey the Lord, if you obey godly tenets, therefore, that is the only time that your bodies will be glorified already. But as long as you are on earth, it is not. Ano ba yung guarantee na binigay ng Diyos sa atin once He died on the cross? Sabi nga sa Romans 5 ay, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. May plano ang Diyos upang iligtas tayo. Therefore, for anyone who will call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Shall be saved. Ano ba itong sinasabi ko? So therefore, salvation is a process? No, wala akong sinabi ha. Salvation through Christ alone. Therefore, wala kang gagawin. You do not have anything to do with it because it is a free gift from God. Pero, sanctification is a process. Is it mandatory for a Christian to go under the process of fire or sanctification? Of course, it is. Kaya nga, being Christ-like, if you are with Christ, you are against the world. If you are with Christ, you are a new creation. Therefore, we have to go through this narrow road that leads to life. We should not let ourselves be distracted or preoccupied by the things of the world. Therefore, obedience will require you to sanctify yourselves unto God. Sanctification is the one that will bring you towards God. I hope it is already clear to you na sanctification is a form of worship. By what means? You are imitating Christ through your deeds, through your aura, through your presence. You are representing Christ the King. What are the things that we can also consider when it comes to this topic of sanctification, obedience, and worship? Is there any commonality between those three? Yes. What is it? Christ. It is the Lord Jesus. If the Lord Jesus is not common in there, sino yung pattern mo? Sino yung pattern mo na sinusunod mo? Kanino ka ba nagsasanctify? Sino ba yung ginagaya mong image? Sabi 'di ba, you shall not create a graven image. That is the second commandment. So, kung hindi ang Diyos ang pattern mo for sanctification, sino yan? Kita nyo na. Kinakailangan nating humiwalay sa pamamaraan ng mundong ito. Kinakailangan nating gawin yung mga bagay na kinakalugdan ng Diyos. It is because it is part of our worship. Ayan na. Lumalalim na yung ating definition ng worship. Worship is to God. Like I said, ayan na sinasabi ko sa inyo. Worship is an act to please God. Pag hindi ganyan ang definition nyo ng worship, ay kinakailangan nating i-revise ang ating theology. We need to revise our Christology. We need to revise our soteriology if that is the case. Everything will fall down unto worship. Kasi, so therefore, wrong understanding of worship and sanctification will lead you to wrong soteriology. So, sa mga di nakaalam, soteriology is the study of salvation. So, therefore, is sanctification an integral part of soteriology? Of course. I mean, not in a direct way, but there is an indirect relationship between sanctification and salvation. For Romans 6 tells us that if you die with Christ, you must leave sin. You must leave the slavery of sin. So kung nasa kasalanan ka pa rin, wala ka pa rin kay Christ. See? That is the bold teaching of hamartiology, the study of sin. So, hindi kasi Diyos ng kasalanan ng Diyos. There is nothing good, there is nothing bad with Christ. When Christ gives, He added no sorrow unto it. All good things comes from God. That is written in James. So therefore, sin or any form of temptation is not from God. Therefore, sanctification has its indirect relationship with soteriology. You might be asking me, why indirect? Babalikan ko yung sinabi ko kanina na wala naman kasi tayong talagang gagawin para maligtas tayo. It is through the blood of the Lamb. It is through the blood of the high priest, which is the Lord Jesus Christ. With anything beyond that, no. It is only through Christ. But, sasabihin ng Diyos, pag namatay ka, sino ka? Depart from me, you doers of iniquity. So, what does it mean? So, pag nagkasala ka, you're damned into the lake of fire once again. Wait. I said, for those who lives in sin. Hindi ko sinabing for those who sins. Alam naman ng Diyos na you're still in your carnal self, so you will commit sins. But committing a sin is different from living in sin. Magkaiba yon. Sanctification will demarcate you or deviate you from the slavery of sin. Ano ba sinabi ng Romans 6? If you are a slave of sin, you are not with Christ. Hindi naman sinabi, if you sin, you are not with Christ. Hindi naman niya sinabing, kung nagkasala ka ay wala ka na kay Kristo. Hindi yun eh. Ang sinabi dyan, kung alipin ka ng kasalanan, ibig sabihin, if you feel that there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, if there's nothing wrong with your lifestyle, ah, that is what I'm talking about. Let's be clear about that. Magkaiba yun. Kasi, dyan nagkamali ang maraming modern theology na, malaya na tayo kay Kristo. Sana binasa nila yung Romans 6 muna. I mean, ano ba yung part natin? What is our participation in sanctification? That is the question. Sanctification is an integral part of obedience. It means that you are avoiding any forms of sin. You are avoiding any forms of slavery. You are avoiding any taboos. Kasi, by the way, next week, saka ko nasasabihin what kind of sanctification the Lord is pleased. Kasi meron kasi dyan nagbubuti-butihan, they represent Christ, but at the end of the day, they are sanctifying themselves just for the cause of their testimony. Para makita nung iba, but their hearts are far away from God. Pero saka ko na i-discuss yan on our next video next week. Like I said, sanctification will start with our faith. Yan, pagtahitayin natin. Maikling video lang to. So, pagtahitayin natin, baka yung iba sa mga nakikinig ay baka naliligaw na. Kasi, ang sabi ko, worship through obedience. Ayun yung ating original topic. Pero, bakit biglang napunta tayo sa sanctification? Ayan na. Pinagtatahitain ko lang yung mga dots natin. Iklian lang muna natin para makapag-focus tayo sa mga susunod na mga dapat nating pag-usapan. Okay. Simulan natin sa, balikan ko yung sinabi ko na, our sanctification will start with our faith. That's the step 1. If that is not the step 1, I don't know. What kind of theology do you have? Because Christianity will start with the Lord Jesus Christ. There will be false churches that will tell you, baga nandito ka sa simbahan na to, you are saved. But what did the Lord tell us? There will come a time, John 4, that every saint shall worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. There is no ecclesiological building that will constrict the saints to worship the Lord Jesus Christ. If your ecclesiology will teach you that you should only worship in a certain place, you should demarcate from it because that is bad ecclesiology, or that is the worst ecclesiology. If you could have called it a heresy, yes, that is a heresy. Kasi you should worship the Lord in spirit and in truth, no matter where, no matter when, no matter what as well. Now, pag-usapan naman natin. Bakit maraming Kristiyano ang natatakot na pag-usapan itong sanctification na to? It could be they have no faith. Okay, sige, I'll go all into this thing. Okay, sige. Pero saan na tayo papatungo after this? If you notice, the Apostle Peter, the fisherman, yung mga mangingisda, iniwan nila lahat because they know that Christ has a plan for them. Dito kasi mahirap. Yung step 1 pa lang kasi napakahirap na actually sa totoo lang. I mean, let's be real. Faith is not an easy thing to do because it is something that you will embrace that you do not see. It is something that you embrace that your senses cannot perceive. But the Lord Jesus Christ tells us that It is not by power, not by might, but by the Spirit, saith the Lord. That is written in Zechariah. Uh, ayun na nga. Yung, yung issue kasi ng God is hiding, nasa Psalms yun. Lord, hide it. Meron mga ganun. But, hide it or hide is different from demarcate or left. The saints, the Lord will just hide, but the Lord will not deviate. Sabi nga na Lord, He will be with us. That is the name, Emmanuel. God is with us. So kung mangiindian pala ng Diyos, parang nakahiya naman yung salitang Emmanuel na yun na pinangalan sa Diyos, di ba? Yun na nga. It begins with our faith. It begins there. If your soteriology does not begin with faith and eventually will go to sanctification, and the road to your Christianity will be constricted, or if not, on its way to a dead end. Therefore, sanctification will play an integral part of your salvation. It is because Christ will demarcate you or manumit you from your worldly self. If you do not perceive it that way, well, you have not met. And then your conversion might be a false conversion. Sige, pag-usapan natin itong false conversion na to. What is it? Sabi di ba na, pag tinanggap mo si Lord, yes, Deuteronomy tells us that love the Lord with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul. It means that you have to accept that you cannot do it alone with all of your heart. Dapat sincere, buo sa puso mo na, okay, I'm all in with this. If you do not perceive the full power of the Lord, I think you should consider reconverting again. Let's pray. Father God, nagpapasalamat po ako sa panahon na ibinigay niyo po. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa inyong grace. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa inyong anointing. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa inyong wisdom na inyong ibinigay sa amin. Naway sa aming paghihiwa-hiwalay, Lord, ay ingatan niyo po kami. Ilayo niyo po kami sa gawin na masama. Ilayo niyo po kami sa mga gawi na hindi ka malulugod sa amin. Salamat po. Ito ang aming dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus na ating Diyos. Amen. Salamat sa pakikinig sa inyo, ha? Magkikita-kita ulit tayo. Ingat at pagpalain kayo ng Panginoong Jesus.